I did promise my one friend to talk about the NBA in-season tournament. Now, now that I've seen it in terms of the format, hmm, now I understand what um, I understood what Adam Silver was saying by European tournament. When he said that at first, I'm thinking the FA Cup, which is the club tournament on all different levels in England. I'm thinking the US Open Cup, which is the American equivalent of that. I wasn't thinking in terms of the UEFA Champions League. Now, with the UEFA Champions League, you have all these individual matches at the very beginning, which are introductory matches into the tournament. Eventually, you get into the UEFA tournament with 32 teams, and they break up into 8 groups of 4, and then you play. They actually play double round robin, and then the top teams go to this uh, round of 16, which is the beginning of the knockout rounds. Well, the NBA only has 30 teams right now, so you don't have mirroring UEFA, and that's fine. But now what they do is they have 6 groups of 5. You got 3 groups in the Western Conference, you got 3 groups in the East, and everybody plays each other one time. So you're going to have a round robin. You're going to be playing 4 games. How many games in that preliminary round? Oh, 4. And the top team in each group will qualify for the quarterfinals. Now, I don't know where the quarterfinals are going to be, though. I don't know if that's going to be. Um, I don't know if that's going to be at the arenas at an NBA site. And Rockery says we're 2-1 AL entering the top of the 8th. Um, and hopefully for Don Juan's sake, we get extra innings or get a burst of runs here so he can get that over. Especially if it's the National League because he can hit that parlay tonight. But once you get into that, um, once you get into the quarterfinals, the 4 winners will then go to Vegas for the semifinals and finals, which is December 7th and 9th. So I guess the reason why the NBA schedule has not come out yet is because of this tournament idea, because of the fact that you have um, and Bautista here, first pitch, at least I think it was the first pitch. Yeah, it was. Felix Bautista threw one that would have killed a left-handed hitter. Thankfully, Nick Castellanos is right-handed. So Nick Castellanos just said something in passing. But so okay, Rocket Reese did confirm the quarterfinals will be in the arenas of the home team. Okay. So here's the one thing. I have gone from no way in hell do I want to see this to having a wait and see approach to this because of the fact that, okay, now it's starting to get a little bit interesting to me because now I know what the format is. Now I know why even there's a delay with the schedule because with a lot of the NBA and NHL teams, they share the same arena. The Flyers share the arena with the Sixers for a few more years, unless the whole Center City arena falls flat on its face, like I think it's going to because of Chinatown. In the history of Chinatown at Philadelphia, they tried to build a baseball stadium, didn't happen. They end up building next to Veterans Stadium in South Philly. And you can go through all the different teams in different cities that have shared arenas, the Knicks and the Rangers, for example, in New York. And you aren't going to have the NBA schedule come out. And usually when over past years that always seemed the case, you had the NHL schedule come out and then the NBA schedule out, like within 2 or 3 days at the most of each other. Or if the NBA came out first, the NHL came out the next day, something like that. But I'm now in wait and see mode because I want to see how this works. And I think we're going to get a goofy result when it comes to this when the season, when this starts. Let me just look at last year's records here, just because I just want to make some goofy comment here that's going to be used against me. And you know what? Feel free to do it. I don't care because this is all in fun. And truthfully, even though I kind of take this seriously, I am doing this for fun because, this is a hobby. And I went off about, content creation and stuff like that because, some people, like people on Twitch and people on Kick, a lot of people there do it for the sake of making money. They don't do it necessarily for the love of talking sports like it's my case. And if talking sports like I am right now leads anything, then great. But you know what? I got a career right now, and this is something I do, which is partially a decompression device I do on Tuesday and Thursdays. But it's also a way for me to have fun, get my point across, and and tonight I have Rock and Reese and Don Juan with me. Let me just see one thing. I'm going to pull up the standings here from last season. Okay. Why do I get the feeling that you're going to have, like, for example, with the U.S. Open Cup, and I'm comparing this as well, even though it's a totally different format. Why do I get a feeling that some of the top teams aren't going to give a shit? But the fact that you have a regular season, the regular season game that accounts as regular season games, that also takes away that work load management thing. Because, even though it's only November, December, which is probably the best time to do this, because you don't have any, the games meeting mentally more, even though when you really think about it, it's 1/82nd of the schedule. Some people are going to, some teams may still load manage, and who knows, maybe this is something goofy that happens here, and some teams are just like, ho hum, this is just another game. Or you get, maybe you get lucky and you get to see Denver and Miami again. Maybe we get to see that again. Or maybe we see totally something off the wall, like Houston and Orlando in the final. And Rock and Reese is ahead of me right now. And that one did remain fair, even though Rock and Reese is about 10 seconds ahead of me. Rock and Reese, don't feel bad that you spoiled it for me. No, don't feel bad. It's just that because I admit I still have cable. And even if I was in my bedroom watching it, streaming it, I guarantee you there would still be a delay. And you know what? One thing I should have done is if I had a show on Sunday, I could have told you that when a Phillies manager is managing the All-Star game, the National League manager is, if it's a Phillies manager, the National League has only lost one time. They won in 51. Let me go through this list here. 51, they won in Detroit. Uh, 81, they won in Cleveland. 94, they won in Baltimore. Uh, 2010, they won. And if this result holds, even though Don Juan will be a loser because of the um, taking the under, um, the only loss was in 2009 for a Phillies manager in an All-Star game when the American League won 4-3 in St. Louis. So maybe I should have mentioned that on Sunday. Maybe I should have mentioned it on Friday. But, you know, just a little quirk that you will see there. And who knows, maybe a play like that, even if this does stay 3-2, does happen to be the result here. Now, what will be the interesting thing here is if it goes to the if it who does Rob Thompson go to here? Does he go to his guy Kimbrel? Does he go to another guy? Be interesting seeing. I'm just thinking, interesting things here now. So, but going back to the, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the ball girl there. I'll tell you one thing. With this tournament, I'm now I want to see how this works out. And I want to see if we're going to get a goofy result, like, for example, two teams that weren't in the playoffs, like, Houston and Orlando, for example. And they're just two teams I'm spitballing randomly. I could just say San Antonio and Detroit. But San Antonio is going to be improved because of Wembanyama and the number one pick. Whether they get to the playoffs, we'll see. But, I'm interested in seeing how this happens now. I want to see how this works out now that we know the details of this tournament. And we'll see. And maybe I'll like it. Maybe I'll still hate it. But now we have the format available, and we see what happens. And to my friend G Girl, who I may even splice this up and put it on YouTube so she can watch, or if she wants to listen to the podcast. I've changed from No Way in Hell to let's see how this works. So, and Bautista is very wild right now. He's thrown like 4 or 5 pitches that have not been